now that Mark's not here and we outnumber Jack, is it time to drop the elbow in GTA 4?
I hate that game, Dave. I fucking hate it.
Did you feel such a rich sense of vindication when we both started playing that in the last week?
Yeah, because you mentioned it and I was like, I haven't touched GTA 4 since first playing it, back in, what was it, 08 when it was released. And I was like, you know what, I'll go back. The worst it'll be is a GTA game, which is like warm comfort food for the most part. And I'm like, no, I fucking hate it. It's just so stiff. It's the first time they're like, let's go toward realism. So like Nico moves just like he turns like a ship. It's slower than a ship, frankly. There's a mission at the start of the game where Roman's getting beaten up at a basketball court and they make you do like melee punches, and it's the worst experience I've ever had playing a video game. I hate this game. And like I've been playing a bunch of other GTA games this week. I've been playing a little of Vice City Stories. I've been playing a lot of Liberty City Stories, and I've been playing even like GTA Chinatown Wars on the DS. All of which are games that like I enjoy as GTA games, and then I go to this like lumbering mess of a game and I detest it. I really, really hate it.
It is reminding me why I pivoted hard to Saints Row games, because in their pursuit of trying for realism, even though like the why fix what isn't broken mantra is legit, I feel the fun just fucking drained out of this game. It doesn't look good, and I don't mean that in a way where like it has aged poorly. Like I know a lot of PS3 era shit doesn't really look good now, especially early PS3. But I mean just like even at the time I remember going, well, this was like the first peak of the washed out color palette era of games.
So muddy. It's just so muddy.
The Yahtzee thing of everything is the grey brown castle. It just doesn't look good. It feels dour. Like there definitely are things to pick out about like the story of Nico Bellic. I'll give them that, but like just as a video game, it's not very good.
Yeah, it's just like start making movies, would you? Like if you want to tell these good stories that are realistic, just make some movies. Don't slap them on top of unpleasant to play video games.
Yeah.
And
I think one of the things that backs up our vindication here, Garrett, is the fact that GTA 5 didn't continue in that direction. It went way back the other way. It remembered the fun, it remembered the colour, and it was just a much more pleasant game to play minute to minute.
Like the thing I like about GTA is like the arcadey sandboxness of it. That's the thing everybody likes about GTA, that you just jump in a car and you run people over, you get chased by the police, you blow some stuff up, you die, you do it all over again. And playing all of these other games, even like Chinatown Wars on DS, which is like a remarkable little game for what it is on the machine it's running on, that has like these weird touch control mini games where when you get in the cars that are locked, you have these one of I think 3 hijacking touch mini games you do, and you can't buy Molotov cocktails, you have to make them. So you go to the petrol pump and you pour it into your little bottle and you put the towel or whatever in the top. They do like some fun stuff with those, and like they're just arcadey and silly and fun, and you get the GTA 4 and it's just none of those things. And they're colorful. You think of Vice City and all the colors. You think of like GTA 3, not really, but then you think of San Andreas, which is also a very colorful game, and they're just fun. And that's what I want out of GTA. I don't want realism. I don't want something that's like dour and not just enjoyable to play. It's not just enjoyable to jump in a car and go cause some mayhem. And that's GTA 4. It's not enjoyable to jump in a car and cause some mayhem. It's just the minute-to-minute experience of interacting with that game is unpleasant, both on foot and in a car, and they just can't get over that no matter what else they do good in that game. And there is some fun stuff like the heist mission in that game, which is really great, which they leaned then all in on in the 5th game. Really good stuff, but just the interacting with it is unenjoyable, and I don't know what's happened to that studio, because like it's my same problem with Red Dead 2, which is like it's the same Rockstar storytelling, tremendous stuff, better than anybody in the world, looks amazing. Like unlike GTA 4, Rockstar or Red Dead 2 does look like probably still the best looking game ever made, but then you have to interact with it and it's like, oh, this no.
Sorry, Jack.
No, I mean, that's how you feel, I guess. It's, I can't sit here and tell you that that it's actually a really good game and I really like it, because I wouldn't change your mind. I haven't played it for a while, so I don't know if I would go back and have the same feeling about the physics and the way everything handles. I remember initially thinking that the driving in the game was pretty tough, but then once I kind of got used to it, I actually quite liked it. It kind of felt right, like it almost felt more realistic than driving physics in a lot of other games.
The one thing I will say about it is that, like, finally switching the accelerate to the triggers.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that was the quantum leap for me that this game made that I can't argue with.
Yeah, exactly.
It was one of that generation of consoles where we finally moved shooting and acceleration to the triggers. It was just like,
yeah.
The weirdest thing about Chinatown Wars is they Nintendo has the A and B that's flipped from the PlayStation X and Circle. So like the confirm and cancel buttons are different on Nintendo consoles, but they stick to the PlayStation control scheme for Chinatown Wars. So it's like drive with X, exit the car with triangle, reverse with square. It's the same like layout. It's very strange for the first like hour you play it.
Yeah,
that must feel good though. Liberty City, by the way, is fantastic as well. Like the setting of that game is incredible. It's cinematic. It's a really good, like, considering the game's 14 years old now, like, you still look at that Liberty City and the graphics and stuff and think that it looks pretty fantastic. I would say, personally, I don't know if you would agree with that, but is that just because they've used New York and New York's really cool? Is that what the comeback would be, I guess? But yeah, I love it. I think the story of the game is brilliant. I think Nico is by far, to me anyway, their most interesting protagonist. I love, Madman Tommy Vercetti and as much as the next guy, but to me Nico kind of feels like the most, relatable and understandable, and his actions and the story of the game fit together really well.
I mean, in a lot of ways it's like the first one of the protagonists they really tried.
Like the other two don't have character arcs. It's like they go through the story of like, fake Scarface and like Liberty City, literally a silent protagonist in GTA 3. But
yeah, and like San Andreas, like CJ, they're doing like a bit more, but it's very much like Baby's first protagonist arc.
But by 4 is the first time they're like, all right, we're actually going to do something with this character rather than just put them through a series of like whimsical situations.
Yeah, and I thought they did a really good job as well. I would have to go back and lay my hands on the combat again to see if it's bad. But again, it's a 14-year-old game. Like, I don't know how it would compare with games at the time. Is it just a thing like where you go back and play Mario 64 and you're like, oh, the camera movement thing is really annoying, or just things that you get used to in modern video games, like quality of life that you just don't have there? Maybe
I totally see that. My thing on that is always that, like, if it's still a great game minute to minute, I kind of like I will still, I've said it on the show before, like I'll still do a 120 star run on Mario 64 every year or two, in spite of the camera issues. I feel like the truly great games, you kind of persevere through those little kind of quality of life things that are a little frustrating with modern eyes, but I think it sounds like Garrett is the same. There's like, even if you try to overlook the funny camera or control things that are going on, it's still like, oh, even when I scratch beneath that, I personally don't enjoy what's there.
And my thing is, it feels worse than the GTA games that came before it. Like, it would be one thing if like they got better and better and eventually reach a stage where they feel really good. But like, I'm playing the PSP game now. I'm playing Liberty City Stories, and it's a considerably more enjoyable experience, at least from a gameplay. And that like has its own issues. Like, combat in that game is nonsense. If there's more than 2 enemies on the screen, you'll just get shot to death. But that's GTA, like the auto aim stuff. They never quite worked that out. But just the driving, it's so stiff. I hate it.